Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Speak English Corner podcast. My name is Jay, and I'm so happy that you're here with me today. In this episode, we're going to talk about something that almost everyone struggles with, whether you are a student, a professional, or just someone trying to figure out life. That is overthinking. Have you ever stayed awake at night replaying the same thought again and again? Maybe you sent a message to a friend and they didn't reply immediately, and you started asking yourself, did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? Did I sound stupid? Or maybe you have a big decision to make, like choosing a career path or deciding whether to move to a new city, and your mind just keeps spinning in circles, never reaching a clear conclusion. If this sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. Overthinking is one of the most common mental habits today. We live in a world full of information, choices, and expectations. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking too much, worrying too much, and analyzing every little detail until we feel paralyzed. And the worst part is, the more we think, the less we actually do. So in today's episode, I want to help you understand what overthinking really is, why we do it, how it affects our lives, and most importantly, what we can do to stop it. I'll share some practical strategies you can try. And I'll also share some personal reflections and encouragement so that by the end of this episode, you'll feel lighter, more focused, and ready to take action instead of getting stuck in your thoughts. So grab your headphones, maybe a warm cup of coffee or tea, and let's dive right into this important topic: how to stop overthinking. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is overthinking? To put it simply, overthinking is when you think about something too much or for too long to the point where it becomes unhelpful or even harmful. Thinking in itself is not a bad thing. In fact, our ability to think, analyze, and reflect is what makes us human. It helps us solve problems, learn from our mistakes, and make better decisions. But overthinking is different. Overthinking is like being trapped in your own mind. Instead of finding solutions, you replay problems over and over. Instead of feeling confident, you doubt yourself more. Instead of taking action, you stay stuck. Let me give you a few examples. Imagine you're preparing for an English exam. Instead of focusing on studying, you keep worrying. What if I fail? What if the questions are too hard? What if everyone else is better than me? You spend hours stressing, but you don't actually open your book or practice speaking. That's overthinking. Or imagine you want to send a job application. You open the file, but then you start wondering, should I change the font? Maybe I should rewrite the whole CV. What if they don't like my experience? What if I never get a reply? You end up editing the same line 10 times instead of submitting the application. That's overthinking too. In short, overthinking is not just thinking a lot. It's thinking in a way that holds you back. So why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we overthink? There are many reasons, and most of them are connected to how our brain and emotions work. Fear of mistakes. Many of us are afraid of making the wrong decision. We believe that if we think hard enough, if we analyze every possible outcome, we can avoid failure. But the truth is, no matter how much we think, life is unpredictable. Overthinking gives us the illusion of control, but it doesn't guarantee success. Fear of judgment. We often care too much about what other people think of us. What will people say if I do this? What if they laugh at me? What if I embarrass myself? This fear makes us replay conversations, analyze our words, and question our actions endlessly. Too many choices. In the modern world, we are surrounded by options. What should I eat for lunch? Which university should I attend? Which career should I choose? Even something simple like choosing a movie on Netflix can take us half an hour because there are just too many choices. Psychologists call this the paradox of choice. The more options we have, the harder it becomes to decide, and the more we overthink. Stress and anxiety. When we are already stressed, our brain tends to go into overdrive. We imagine the worst-case scenarios. We focus on problems instead of solutions, and we get stuck in negative thought loops. Perfectionism. Some people overthink because they want everything to be perfect. They don't want to make a single mistake, so they spend endless hours thinking, checking, and planning. But perfection is impossible, and this mindset often leads to frustration and burnout. So if you find yourself overthinking, remember this. It's not because you are weak or lazy. It's because your brain is trying to protect you from mistakes, embarrassment, or failure. The intention is good, but the method is not. Now let's talk about the consequences. What happens when we let overthinking take control of our lives? 1. Mental exhaustion. When you overthink, your brain never rests. You might feel constantly tired, even if you haven't done anything physical. It's like running on a treadmill but never reaching anywhere. Sleepless nights. Many people lie awake at night because their mind won't stop racing. Lack of sleep then makes them even more anxious the next day, creating a vicious cycle. Lower productivity. Instead of finishing a task, you spend hours worrying about how to do it perfectly. Overthinking kills efficiency. Missed opportunities. Because you hesitate too long, you might miss chances that require quick action. For example, someone offers you a project, but while you're still thinking, they give it to someone else. Relationship problems. Overthinking makes us misinterpret people's actions. We assume the worst, we create stories in our heads, and we end up damaging relationships. Reduced confidence. The more we overthink, the more we doubt ourselves. We focus on our weaknesses instead of our strengths. Overthinking is like a mental prison. It keeps us stuck in our own thoughts instead of living freely in the present moment. All right. Now comes the most important part, how to stop overthinking. I want to share with you several practical strategies that you can start using today. Remember, you don't have to use all of them at once. Just pick one or two that resonate with you and practice them consistently. Awareness. Notice your thoughts. The first step is to realize when you are overthinking. Pay attention to your mind. If you notice that you're replaying the same scenario for the 10th time, pause and say to yourself, I'm overthinking right now. Simply naming the behavior reduces its power. Write it down. Instead of keeping everything in your head, write your thoughts in a journal. This clears mental space and helps you see patterns. Often, once you put your worries on paper, they look smaller and less scary. Time boxing. Give yourself a time limit to think about a problem. For example, say, I'll spend 15 minutes considering this decision and then I'll choose. Set a timer if you need to. When the time is up, commit to your decision and move forward. Shift focus with action. Overthinking thrives on inactivity. The best way to break the cycle is to do something physical. Go for a walk, exercise, clean your room, or call a friend. Action creates momentum, and momentum reduces overthinking. Challenge your thoughts. When your mind says, "What if everything goes wrong?" Answer with, "But what if it goes right?" Ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? Do I have evidence? Am I exaggerating? Most of the time, overthinking is based on fear, not facts. Practice mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness means focusing on the present moment instead of worrying about the past or future. You can start small. Pay attention to your breath, notice the sounds around you, or eat your food slowly and enjoy each bite. Meditation is also powerful for calming the racing mind. Take small actions. Big problems feel overwhelming. Break them into small steps and take action immediately. For example, if you're overthinking about writing an essay, just write the first sentence. If you're overthinking about starting a project, just open a new document and name it. Small actions reduce fear. Limit information overload. Sometimes we overthink because we consume too much information. Before making a decision, we read 50 articles, watched 20 videos, and asked 10 people for advice. Instead, set a limit. Get enough information, then act. Accept imperfection. Remind yourself that nothing will ever be perfect. Progress is better than perfection. It's better to take action and learn along the way than to wait forever for the perfect moment. Try these strategies one by one. The key is consistency. Overthinking is a habit, and like any habit, it can be changed with practice. Let me share a personal story with you. A few years ago, I had to make a big decision about my studies. I was considering whether to continue my education abroad or stay in my home country. I wanted the best choice for my future, and I was so afraid of making the wrong decision. For weeks, I couldn't sleep well. I made lists of pros and cons, I talked to different people, I searched online for hours, but the more I thought, the more confused I became. I kept asking myself, what if I regret my choice? What if I waste time and money? What if I fail? One day, a mentor told me something simple. Clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. At first, I didn't fully understand. But then I realized that no matter how much I thought, I would never have 100% certainty. The only way to know was to choose and take action. So I made my decision. And guess what? It wasn't perfect. There were challenges and struggles. But I learned so much along the way, and those lessons shaped who I am today. If I had stayed stuck in overthinking, I would have missed out on all of that growth. This experience taught me that overthinking doesn't prevent mistakes. It prevents learning. Taking action, even small imperfect action, is always better than doing nothing. If you're listening to this and you feel like overthinking is controlling your life, I want you to know you're not alone. Everyone overthinks sometimes. Even the most confident people have moments of doubt. The difference is they don't let those doubts stop them from acting. Remember, your thoughts are not always facts. Just because your mind says you can't do this doesn't mean it's true. You are stronger and more capable than you think. Be kind to yourself. Instead of criticizing yourself for overthinking, congratulate yourself for noticing it. That awareness is the first step to change. And every time you catch yourself and redirect your mind, you are training your brain to become calmer and more focused. So let's wrap up what we learned today. Overthinking is when we think too much in an unhelpful way. We overthink because of fear, stress, perfectionism, and too many choices. Overthinking drains our energy, lowers our productivity, and damages our confidence. To stop overthinking, we can practice awareness, write our thoughts down, set time limits, take small actions, challenge negative thoughts, and focus on the present moment. And the most important lesson, clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. So this week I encourage you to try one simple strategy. Maybe start a thought journal or give yourself 15 minutes to decide something and then commit. Small steps will lead to big change. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Speak English Corner podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next one. And if you know someone who struggles with overthinking, share this episode with them. It might help them too. Until next time, remember, don't get stuck in your head. Take action, live in the present, and trust yourself. You're capable of more than you imagine. This is Jay signing off. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next episode.